Eddie,
Hi,
how are you?
this is Steve Parish, ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of Crystal Palace Football Club. And as I've said to you before, I think you'll back me up. I've said everything you've done, Steve, is what I would have done if I was you. So I just agree. I love your style, the way you came in and what you've done with the team. I have said that to you before, haven't I?
Eddie, you're very kind. You're too kind. I'm glad you're enjoying it and what we're doing.
I mean, above all, the fact that you wanted to have managers who had a link to the team and had a link to the area. I thought that was a very sensible thing. Talk about that a bit.
Well, Roy stood on the terraces when he was 16. He was in our youth academy.
Wow.
We've got a chairman from the local area, a manager from the local area who's been affiliated to the team for 60, 50 plus years, and Dougie Freedman, who's our sporting director, who's obviously a hero of the club on the playing side and doing a fantastic job. So we're very rooted in the community. I think it's very important for a club like us. And we've got a lot of fans like yourself that come from the area and go on to do all these amazing, great things, giving us exposure and supporting us, and we're very grateful for it.
Yeah, it's my uncle John. It's actually my auntie Beatrice, whose mum's older sister, about 9 years older than her, and was a surrogate mother, and lived on White Horse Lane, number 177. So, literally, when we were out of the game, we were back home watching those ticker tape results come in within 5 minutes. It was really bonkers, and everyone was streaming past the windows, and you were saying, "How's everyone else done? We know how we've done." That was back in '69 when I first went there. And
long time ago.
The early days. Malcolm Allison, you kind of remind me in a bit of a way, but I don't know what you think of Malcolm Allison, but we were down in the 3rd division. He started wearing the fedora. He made it exciting. And then Terry Venables came in as well with him. And then we had this run in the 3rd division all the way up the FA Cup to almost getting to Wembley, but Southampton beat us in the semi-final. But that was the first time I got real excitement, which is kind of what football's all about, yeah?
Well, Malcolm, what we would say now, rebranded. He rebranded the whole club, Malcolm Allison. I mean, he did things that really would be unthinkable now. I mean, he changed the colours we played in from claret and blue. We were actually set up by an Aston Villa director, which is why we played in claret and blue. And then he changed that to red and blue. We had a nickname, the Glaziers, which was obviously a nod to the Crystal Palace. We were formed in the shadow of the Crystal Palace.
Yep.
And he said, you can't chant the Glaziers, can't chant it sounds terrible. So he developed this idea of an eagle rising from the ashes of the Crystal Palace like a phoenix, and renamed the nickname the Eagles. I mean, incredible, complete rebranding of the club. And as you say, managed to get us relegated from the 1st division to the 3rd division. But then just create this enormous excitement around the club and this momentum to get for Terry and you to get them back into the top division, and we were top of the league for a while. So we both remember that's a very formative time for both of us around the club, I think.
Yes, indeed it is. I must admit, I've taken the bit where he took us down from the 1st to the 3rd. I didn't realise he was in charge on that bit, but I think I sort of clued in at that point. And as a young teenager, I was playing football and I was in the first team and I loved it. I lived for it and supporting Palace. And if we could win as well, up to the team of the 80s bit, I just was having a great time. So, and you brought back, I think you've taken the eagle into a different shape, didn't you? You did something very clever with the eagle.
Well, I think the old badge was a rotoring drawing. It was just done at a different time. So we modernised it really. We just we used computer graphics to give it a new lease of life. And again, we involved fans. A fan actually did it for us.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah. We put some options up there. Some fans liked some, we didn't like the others. We learnt what mattered to people in the badge, what things they felt connected to and that were very important for them. And then we took all of that feedback, and a designer that's a big fan of the club came up with this, which was just a modernisation of what we had. So we'd like to involve the fans. This kit was designed by a fan and his son.
Yes.
Posted on Instagram, and we picked it. I think it's important to retain that connection. Not forget where we've been a lot of the time. In the division below.
Yeah.
With incredibly loyal supporters who come through thick and thin, a lot more thin sometimes than thick. And we wanted to feel part of what we're doing now. So we're very excited about it.
Now, how do you deal with blood pressure and being the chair of a football club? Because, you know, maybe it's different for the big six, but, you know, sometimes we're winning by 4, sometimes we're getting thumped, you know, in recent matches. And can you find a sort of balance through that? Because I must admit, it takes me all over the place. My stomach goes everywhere.
Well, it's very difficult. I mean, I think the thing that I try and keep an eye on is I want to leave this club in a better situation than I found it. That's the prize for us. You know, and the noise of results can throw you off course. And it has done for me in the past, because it's, you know, losing at football is an awful place to be when you're involved in it. Anybody involved in football will tell you it's a pretty dark place on a Saturday night if you've lost, particularly if you're in jeopardy of relegation or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to try and manage that, and you have to keep your eye on the prize, you know, and the prize for us is to ladder this club up from where it was, to try and create a constancy, first of all, in the Premier League, to build new facilities that impact on not just the football club, but also on the community, which is what we're doing with the academy at the moment, and to try and make the people of South London proud of their team. You know, I think for too long, people would ask what team do you support, and they would, in Crystal Palace, you know, it would be a bit of a, you know, oh, sorry. But whereas now, I think, you know, at least people can say, I'm a Palace fan, you know, and we've got some great players, we've got Zaha, we've got Benteke, we've got, you know, fantastic players that play for the club, and we have exciting moments. Obviously, we want to turn those moments into trophies and bigger things, but it's more important to have a long-term plan, I think. So that's how I manage the darkness. It does get quite dark at times when we're not winning. It
is tricky because I, as a supporter and a fan, I realise I can do nothing, and you can do something, but not actually. You're not there on the pitch, so you can't, and you're not Roy, so you can't be there. So it must be, yeah, tricky for you as well.
Well, I think you feel a sense of responsibility, because in the end, you know, I've always felt this. Whatever you run, I hire the manager, I hire the sporting director. You know, there's no escape for me, really. You know, if we're losing, I consider it to be my fault and a product of the decisions I've made. But you know, you just have to manage that. You know, you can't. It doesn't help if you just flagellate, you know, constantly. You know, you've got to try and find a way through it and accept that everybody makes mistakes, particularly in something as public as football. You know, you're in a very public profession. You know, you suffer criticism and all these things you have to come to terms with and find a way through it. So, you know, I'm sure you've managed similar types of things. It's a learning experience. It's a job that I'm very privileged to be able to do. And you have to remember that as well, you know, that probably pretty much every person that likes football would love the opportunity to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, it is kind of beautiful. And I'd like you to tell people on the back of that how you got to this position, your story, because I think I want young kids, young boys and young girls to be inspired by people who are growing up who've done interesting things, and you have. So tell them how you got to the place where you were the chair of Crystal Palace Football Club.
Well, I was local boy. I was born in Forest Hill. My father was a trade union leader. In fact, I think there's some of the anniversary of the Wapping dispute, and he was very active in that. And I was lucky enough to get access into the sort of graphic arts industry. Yeah. And very fortunately, I did a computer studies OA level, which at that time made me the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. So lots of good fortune. I would say the only lesson I can really give people is that I knew what I didn't want to do. I didn't end up being trapped in. I went for a job in insurance, and I knew I didn't want to do it. But it was 1983, sort of Thatcher's Britain, and you were pretty much had to accept any job you were given. But I knew I didn't want to do it, and that through that I found something I did want to do and something I loved. I was very lucky. I was fortunate enough to be able to build a business, and then from that, in the back of my mind, I think I'd always, you know, because of my love for the club and that irrational love that you've got for your football club, you know, I found a way through circumstance to end up doing what I'm doing. I never really had a plan in life. You know, I've just always gone to things that I feel are interesting, I suppose that I've got some passion for. And out of that, I've managed to do quite well. I certainly never put, making money at the heart of anything I ever did. You certainly wouldn't be in football if that was what you wanted to do. But things have worked out so far for me in that regard. So, I know it's a bit cliche, but, just don't end up doing something you don't like and you don't want to do. And through that, you'll find something you do like and you do want to do. And generally, if you like doing it, and you can find a way to own a bit of it, it's not a bad route to try to achieve the things that you want to achieve. No, but Eddie, I also want to talk about what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
It's incredible what you're doing, and hopefully we've got some Palace fans on. I've just donated. It's very, very easy. You just go to eddieizzard.com. But just tell the Palace fans a little bit about, the overarching idea of the things you're running for, I think, is to be absolutely applauded. We all know that we need to build a better world in the way that people talk to each other and interact with each other.
Yeah.
And turn, if you like, go back to some sense of politeness and understanding people's got a different point of view and trying to find the best answer considering everybody's points of view. So the overarching thing is great, but I'd love the Palace fans that might be on that we can get to donate just to talk about the 5 charities, Eddie, that you're supporting and over.
Absolutely. So we have 5 that we're highlighting, and there could be more depending how much money people go to eddieizzard.com and donate. But so we start with Care International. If you've ever heard of care packages, they started after the Second World War when Europe would have this devastating war, and care packages came from America to help people around, and now they do it internationally. So that's Care International, working in lots of countries, people really struggling around the world. So they're brilliant and everywhere. And then there's a charity called Covenant House, which deals with young teenagers and young adults who have been homeless, drug addicted, substance addicted, and they get them to come into their houses, these Covenant houses. There are 3 of them. They're based in New York, but they work in 6 countries around the world. And they get people to come in and to try and get them back into life. And they even will fund them to go to university. And we talked to one woman, CB, who had been, homeless. Her parents were drug addicted as well. She was on the streets. She came in, and she had to do it twice, and the second time she stayed for a year, and then they funded her to go to university, and she got a first at university, a wonderful story, and she's now helping people in New Orleans. So that's a second charity, Fair Share, based in the UK, helping people in the UK against food wastage. They get food that could be wasted, and they get it out, and they make sure it's good food, and they get it to young kids who are struggling on low-income backgrounds all across the UK. Marcus Rashford's been doing great work in this, so it's a similar area there, Fair Share. They're very good. And then there's Neglected Tropical Diseases, which includes elephantitis and leprosy. You might have thought of gone from the world. Well, the Unite to Combat NTDs, neglected tropical diseases, that affects 1.7 billion people around the world. So these are diseases, just very impoverished people suffering from things that can be cured. So we really do help with that one. And then the 5th one is Walking with the Wounded, UK-based, helping people coming out of the forces who have physical problems. They might have mental health problems, or they might have problems with the criminal justice system when they come out because they've been at life in the military. You come out and things are different. So they do great work there, and they're linked to the NHS as well. So those are the 5 that we're highlighting.
That's fantastic. What I notice, Eddie, about all of your charities, which is what we try to do with our foundation, is that they're all really trying to get to the nub of the problem and really make a difference. They're not, no disrespect to some charities, but you feel like you're giving money into a kind of endless black hole of research. Whereas, particularly the second one, because our foundation, we run a program called Divert with the Met Police, where the players go into custody centres and they talk to first-time young offenders, very young, and they try and divert them out of crime, show them there's another life, a different way. The academy will be fantastic for the local area because we've got classrooms for the boys, which we will open up to the local area, and trying to show people there's a different pathway in certain, instances when they're sucked into a kind of vortex of a life that takes them in one direction, whether it's drugs or crime. I think is that, the second one you spoke about really does resonate with the things that we're doing, but all of them sound incredible and real charities that make a difference.
Yeah, and it's in this country and around the world. It's Make Humanity Great Again. Obviously, the title of my overall fund sounds a bit like someone else's idea, but anyway, this one includes everyone, all of us in the world. And yeah, and we can make a difference. And at this time of COVID, we know that looking out for each other, helping each other, trying to be sensible about things, it's a very tough time, but we can get through this. We will get through this, and hopefully we learn from it as well. That's what I hope, as opposed to the next one that comes along, we go, oh, what do we do now? What did we learn last time? Because I think we might forget what we've learned here.
Well, absolutely, and they're never, there's never been a more important environment for people to, try to think less about blame and more about what we learn from it and how we adapt, because clearly, we can't go through this again if it's possible to try and avoid it and make a plan to avoid it. So, there's a lot of thinking and a lot of learning that needs to go on from the things that happened all over the world, because, no one's in an ideal situation, are they? Whether you've closed your country or you've got, you're semi-open, you've got terrible death tolls. It's just such a challenging situation, and one that the discourse, the way we talk to each other, the way we talk about it needs to be less partisan and more about trying to find the right answer.
Yes, indeed. It's and I do say that another thing on an even big macro scale, that the 21st century, maybe this is the coming of age of humanity, and it would be nice to try and fight for everyone in the world having a fair chance in life. That's what I'd like to fight for. A fair chance in life. Not a free life, but a fair chance, so that they can go and try and have a family and have a job and not have to worry about it. All these hellish things that happen in a number of countries. It'd be great if everyone had a fair chance. So that's why I'm a realistic idealist. That's me.
Equality of opportunity, Eddie, is so important, isn't it? And one of the things we're working on, locally, is social mobility as well for kids.
Yeah.
Giving kids from disadvantaged backgrounds the work experience, the internship opportunities that they don't get because they're not connected to the right people.
Yep.
So, absolutely spot on all of the things that you're working towards there. And, the tropical diseases one, I mean, with all the things that are going on around one disease, absolutely terrible as it is, shining a light on the fact that there are, still people dying from other things that they need help for, we need research going into.
Yeah.
So how did you come to that one, Eddie? That's a fascinating one to be involved with. Well,
our team leader is a guy called Kevin Carhill, and he used to run Sport Relief and Comic Relief, so he's very experienced. And I like the idea of Sport Relief. Again, you put money into a fund, and then what happens is charities, we put out the word, and charities make bids. They say, we're a good charity, we think we're a good fit for you, we'd like to get some money to help our people, and so they actually bid in. And then Kevin tells me, and I said, yep, neglected tropical disease, yep, walking with the wounded sounds great, fair share, cover the house, and Care International. So he put them to me, and together we all said, okay, these 5 we will highlight, but there could be others, depending on how much money we get in. So that's how it works. Instead of just one charity, it's quite nice. The overarching thing, make humanity great again. Who's going to disagree with that, really? And,
and it's an incredible effort you're making, Eddie. I mean, I consider myself relatively fit, and I'm pretty sure I couldn't run one marathon, and let alone on a treadmill. I mean, it's just an extraordinary thing that you're doing, and you're running one a day. I mean, it's unimaginably difficult. How are you bearing up?
Well, the weird thing is the body gets stronger as you get more exhausted. So I'm completely exhausted, but actually not too bad. Now, my bits of my body were coming apart. The toenail on my left foot was coming off. And now we sort of strapped that down, and we strapped up my thigh here. I got tenosynovitis, which some of the Premier League football players would know about, but I had never heard of it. I thought it was a singer in a band, tenosynovitis. And I got that in my right shin. You could hear my tendons moving up and down. I recorded it in the middle of the night because it was like a door creaking, very weird. But after a while, after 10 marathons, it's a bit of a good thing. You get better after 10. And that is the training for the other 21. So now, what am I on? The 25th. I've done 24. I'm doing a gig every night. You probably know about this.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock every night. I must watch one. Your gigs are so amazing, so I should definitely tune in for one.
If you tune in, the money goes to charity or the profits do so. But you'll see me fall asleep, particularly towards the end of the hour. I actually fall asleep in the middle of the line, which is not great comedy, but it's kind of curious, and in a good cause.
How does it compare to running on the road, Eddie? When you did the marathons on the road back to back, is it harder, easier?
What is better on the road is you see things: people, cats, dogs, sunsets, sunrises, rivers. All that stuff can feast your eyes and keeps you going, and it's interesting. On a treadmill, I realized nothing was happening, and I actually asked to do this 6-hour podcast. So talking, even though you can hear me struggling to get the breaths, it's better for me because when I'm talking to you, Steve, I'm up here and thinking about Palace and the great ideas you got. The divert thing, that sounds fantastic. I'm really pleased you're doing that. If you ever need any help with anyone trans in the area, or LGBT things, I'll come and help for that. Because I never feel I do enough. And what I really think what one needs to do to help Palace is come in with a huge amount of money, it seems. That seems in the Premier League. You're just going to come in with a huge bag, and I haven't got that. So I'm always thinking, what else could I do? But I love the fact that you're helping in the area, the community, and my Auntie B, she would be very happy to know that I'm doing that in the area. So
yeah. Well, we'd love you. We'd love you. I'm sure there's people that you're such an inspiration to so many people, and on a one-to-one or one-to-few basis,
yeah.
I'm absolutely sure we could organise that, and it would be amazing. I'd love you to come and see the new academy anyway, Eddie.
Well, that's something I want to talk. You've pushed for this. You're tier 1 now. We're tier 1. Is that correct?
We've got an amazing facility we're building. One of only 3 full-size indoor pitches in the country. I can't stress enough what this means for the community, because when we went to the planning and we said, listen, community use, we're not negotiating it, you can have it. When we're not using it, schools, colleges, disadvantaged kids, coaching courses for the foundation, full-size 3G pitch and an indoor pitch means that we can take hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of kids in the summer, in evenings.
Beautiful.
Get them off the streets, get them involved in team sport, and see if we can help them be fitter, be a bit wiser, and not get involved in things that maybe they shouldn't be. So it's just an amazing facility for the local area. We're all so proud of it. It's all coming together. We've been able to build it during this period. So the people that have been working with us and all the effort that's gone in has been incredible, because in spite of everything, we've still managed to get it done. So we'd absolutely love you to come down and shine a light on it for us, for everybody.
Anything you want that you feel I'm a fit to, then put it out to. If I'm around, well, I'll try and create things. I want to do the walk every year, but you'll know that the Palace does for the Palace Foundation. All Palace friends and supporters want to do a marathon walk, which I found more difficult than the run, because I was there with Brighty and doing it, and he was kind of fast, so I was trying to keep up. But it works different muscles. Yes. I've never walked that far at that speed.
Say that.
And when I finished, I could hardly move when I finished. The next morning, just waving to people out the window, the next morning I was okay again, but immediately afterwards I thought, I can't bloody move. And I thought, I've done loads of marathons.
It's good to know, Eddie, because I've done it twice. I did the 2 years before you.
Yeah.
And shame I couldn't make it this year, so I'd love to have done it with you. But I can't imagine running a marathon, having walked one. It was so hard to do it twice.
I think it might be easy. I don't know what it is, but what I'd like to do next time, I put this out, that I'd like to go and run between the groups, and actually run it, and then walk and say, how are you getting on? And then go to the next group and try and start at the back and link up all the groups. That might be quite nice.
That'd be lovely. I mean, look, the thing I love about it, twice that I've been involved in it, certainly the first time was when we had a really bad start. And obviously you get a lot of flack, but we there's normal fans, a lot of them have supported the club a long time.
Yep.
It's a fantastic environment for me to be in, because you just get all of the sensible kind of comments, the real appreciation for the fact the club's moved forward, a lot of support. And as you say, the more people you can walk with on it, the more stories you hear. and the more background you get on people. I've made some amazing mates out of doing it. So, and it's fantastic again for you to have. We raise, I think, about 100 grand for the foundation, more or less, every time we do it. And as I said, the foundation do all this work, Diver, all of these programs in the community, coaching courses, evening classes for kids, all of these kind of things that we're working on to try and help the young people of South London. You know, they desperately need it, particularly now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to let you go in a second, but I just want to ask about you have great plans for the stadium, but obviously it's going to take time to get there. Where are we? I've seen the pictures of it, and I love your ambition, because I have ambition too, and we can do beautiful things with ambition. So tell us where we are on the stadium.
We've got planning permission, and really, it's, you know, that will be my next project. As soon as I finish this academy and we've got the capital, you know, to do that, you know, the Sherwood's all put in funds to do that, you know, we'll move on. It's very important for the club, as I said, to ladder up. You know, and we need to get into a group of clubs in the Premier League that have got the kind of 35, 40,000 seater stadiums, because that income is still important. And also we want as many people as possible to come and watch the team. You know, when we get to a playoff final or an FA Cup event, you know, we'll have 38,000 people we'll sell all the tickets in 3-4 days. So the Palace fans are there. You know, we just need to build a facility that they want to come to, that they can be proud of. Hopefully that intimidates the opposition even a little bit more than what we've got now, and brings in more annual revenue, so that, you know, effectively we're a bigger club. So that's the next project for me, Eddie. You know, it's rumbling along in the background. We're still working on it, but as soon as we finish the academy, we'll be all systems go trying to get that done.
Very good. Well, as I say, I love thinking of things in the future. What can we build? I call myself a creativist. There are capitalists who like to make things to make money, but there's other of us who like to make money to make things. I like making things. I like changing things. So I'm a creativist. And the money is only a tool to make the things. And the foundation uses it as a tool to help people, which is beautiful.
Absolutely right. Eddie, good luck to you for the rest of the week. It's an amazing thing you're doing. Hopefully lots of Palace fans will donate. EddieIzzard.com. It's very easy. And we're really proud of you, Eddie. So proud of you. Keep going.
Thanks, Steve. And I'm very happy that you're the chairman of Crystal Palace. So keep doing what you're doing.